It's that time again, kids. We're live at 5. Welcome to the program. It's Midnight's Edge After Dark. I'm Tom Connors. With me is Mexican Iron Man. How you doing?
Well, it's one of those weeks in tax season. Yeah. Have you ever had a project like where Andre says, Tom, I have a video for you to do, but you will be able to do it very quickly. And it ends up taking 2 or 3 days.
Every time?
Yeah.
Every time. Oh,
Yesterday, I agreed to this project for a client, and I took a quick look at it, thinking I could bang it out in 3 or 4 hours. 2.5 days later.
whoa.
So you needed a break, in other words.
Yep.
Well, we're glad to have you here, and also we're glad to have Clobbering Times with us. How you doing?
Hey, buddy, it's Clobbering Times. Good to see you. Great friends on the panel and fantastic people in the chat. Hope you had a great weekend and hope you're ready to have a great week.
I had a weekend. That's all I know.
That's fair enough.
Part of it I spent hanging out with CC,
Hey.
who's we've got 2 of all of a sudden. Okay, he's
Oh.
back. Good evening, CC. Are you there?
My internet cut out the moment the show
I was
started.
wondering what happened. That was
And
weird.
then my mic cut out, and I was like, wait, what?
You were still here, but you weren't here. And then now you're here again. So welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Glad to have you. Also joining us, all 32 flavors of Nick Weiser. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Happy to be back in the area. I was obviously off for a few days down in Houston. That was a great time, and I missed Midnight's Edge. And it seems like you're hanging out with the drinker, so that seemed like that worked out very nicely. So, hello to our chat and our mods, and of course to our excellent panel.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We technically haven't had a Midnight's Edge since last week. A week ago.
Yeah, we can
I
go
didn't
to
even think of that. Yeah, I forgot.
That's right.
But yes, and tonight, oh my God, we're going to watch a movie called Face Off. Where you take my face off and you put it on Nicolas Cage. And then you take my face and you put it on John Travolta.
Oh,
Oh, that's fantastic. Well done.
Oh my God.
Wow.
What happened to my hair?
I want to take his face.
I suddenly want to go to the gym and hit on men.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
It's
God, I
fun.
totally want to go get blasted and go to Vegas and do all kinds of drugs.
Castor Troy.
Suddenly.
Oh no, I'm excited about talking about Face Off tonight. It's I especially after rewatching it, I'm just like, man, this movie's so wild. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to talk about the one tonight. But obviously, we have some news to talk about. That's some of it seems to be a little bit on the good, depending on recovery, and definitely on the absolute ugly as well, judging by our thumbnail.
Yes, indeed. We have a bit of a follow-up to our recent video we dropped on the main channel, so we'll get to that shortly here. But let's say hello to the chat. We got Professor Haitian here. We got Ezilla. Daryl Brewer's here. Marks 47's here. Shum is here. Or Shum. I don't know. I know you tried to tell me how it is, but I cannot get it. Darcipio, Jason
Doesn't
Milton.
matter because Shum, whatever you want to call him, he's currently on probation from all social media and temporarily fired from YouTube for violating the Mexican Iron Man terms of service. So
We got D-Bud, we got Max Mercer, we got IUDFR, so many more here. Duck Nation, thank you for being here. Tiger Valley, we got Lance Corporal Waffles, Southern Viking Gunnar, KB is here, Nicholas Horton's here, Phoenix Knight's here, Dalton B, Cool Gamers here. Welcome to the program, guys. We got a super chat already from Rip Star Trek. South African Rands, 35 of them, says, I wish nothing but horrible things upon people who watch Picard Season 3. Screw all of you for destroying the franchise with this Trojan news. Okay, well, let's be fair.
That's a little
Right,
extreme, buddy.
It was going to happen one way or the other, dude. Like, let's
I
be
mean,
real.
Nobody hates PR Season 3 more than me, but I don't wish anything bad on anybody because let's face it, watching that, that's a crime to which its own, the punishment is.
It's a
crime.
double-edged sword, right? Like, they
Yep.
were likely going to renew Kurtzman one way or another.
Right.
And the show itself is not any, like, grand success. right? Like
No,
it
I
hasn't
mean,
pulled in any huge numbers or anything.
you haven't,
so.
yeah. Those people have nothing to do with any of that. I don't think people who watch it. What if you watched it and hated it? Does that count, or still, as long as you watch it, you get horrible things happen to you? I'm just curious. I mean, wishing horrible things.
I mean, what we have to do is just take into consideration that they are going to try and change some things going forward. But as I said, we dropped a video on this, so there's a catch to this, right? Like the catch is that a lot of the new characters, any of the new characters that were created under this license, Kurtzman's company has a say or sway over. So it's kind of it's a double-edged sword no matter which way you cut it. At this point, it's kind of like the same thing with Mandalorian and Kathleen Kennedy, right? Like she clearly used the success of the Mandalorian to boast her stock in Disney, and yeah, it is one of those things.
I hear you.
There's been word that Favreau has some measure of control over the characters he creates. The question obviously being how he retains control of those characters and how much he has.
Well, that explains why they probably haven't recast Cara Dune yet. You were about to say something, Mikey?
I was just going to say that if you is that clearly there is no justice in Hollywood.
No, we see the pattern of this lately.
No, sir, there is not.
I saw the thumbnail for this show, and it's a good thing that my AR-15 and my 9mm are downstairs because I wanted to shoot the screen when I saw his face. I hate.
Let's not get hasty here.
Well, I don't. You're right. I'm being a little dramatic, but I'm just saying. Yeah. I said my computer screen. No,
Yeah, no, that's fair. But like, okay, so here's what this is all about here. Now let's be clear. There has not been any official announcement for Kurtzman to be renewed or anything like that yet. But what we are now getting is some of the things that we had said that we were hearing in the recent video we released that we would be hearing, and that is some kind of continuation of what's going on. And basically now it looks like Strange New Worlds will be getting a 3rd season, and Lower Decks will be getting a 5th season, which adds a little credence to what we were reporting, sadly. So again, in this case, it seems like, and Prodigy also, I think, also got a renewal for another season. But again, it doesn't look like we can get rid of Kurtzman that goddamn easy, unfortunately.
No.
Now, what we do know, though, is that Paramount is aware that there is a problem, clearly. Because we had been hearing that, they want to do some changes. With the merchandise, I don't know if you guys have noticed a lot of changes lately. And Strange New Worlds, funnily enough, isn't even one of Kurtzman's shows. It's Akiva Goldsman's baby, which is kind of funny because I don't even think he's around anymore. I think he left. But yeah, so this is the case right now. This is the reason why we have the semi-clickbaity.
Well, they're aware because merch doesn't sell unless it's connected to real Star Trek. None of the new crap merch ever sells for dick. It just doesn't.
No. They don't even have much Star Trek
no, but what does come out that sells is connected to real Star Trek. Though. Usually,
no. They got plenty of. They got actually. I don't know if you saw the Playmates deal. Like I've got Star Trek Wrath of Khan figures now.
That's what I'm saying. Real Trek.
Yeah. And they actually label it Classic Trek.
But
as far as the new Trek stuff, they literally only have 2 figures from Discovery. We have it's always Saru and
Michael Burnham.
Michael Burnham. And they have, I think, 3 figures from Prodigy out, and that's it. That is the only stuff that is connected to the new Trek.
Right, yeah, few and far between. There's things here and there that come out merch-wise, but for the most part, if just all as far as Star Trek merchandise in total, I'd say about 90-some-odd% of it that comes out on a regular basis is based in real Trek. Large chunk of that original series, but sometimes there's TNG stuff and other stuff too. Yep. But rarely the fake Trek garbage.
And I haven't seen anything yet for Picard. I haven't seen any Picard figures yet.
I don't think there has been anything like a figure. I think they did like some kind of statue probably or something. Maybe. Classic
stuff I've seen, but not like for the new show.
It's hard. Yeah, I don't think there has been anything.
I want a Rafi voodoo doll.
There you go. That would sell. Ugh,
if they had Rafi dolls, those would be like the newest Rose Ticos, man. I mean, they just sit there on the show.
Jesus. I just want to just stay up at night and play voodoo with a Rafi doll.
Well, and this is kind of a problem that Kurtzman Trek has kind of put them into, and I hope they're taking note of this is that they've kind of killed the family factor to Star Trek, right? Like, you can't really have figures for a show where people are saying F words and getting mauled by space worms.
Filth and flarn and flarn and
Yeah.
filth.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't really have that kind of shit on a toy shelf.
Yeah, and nobody cares about it. I mean, even people who inexplicably like I can't stand any of them, even including Stranglewood Worms or PR Season 3. But even people who like them, they're not going to be buying any of that stuff. Nobody's going to buy that stuff. Nobody, just not. And they haven't, and they're never going to buy any of that. But they're worried about it, meaning Kurtzman and all those people. They would like to have good sales for their merch. This is never going to happen.
Well, and for those who don't know, I quit watching the show sometime around episode 3 because I felt like it was a little kind of bullshit that almost everybody else in our sphere has been able to somehow manage to see this entire show in its entire run, except for Midnight's Edge. And we were
Which was on the cutting edge of reporting on this issue from the
Thank
beginning.
you. I don't even have to say it because of Mike.
I want to say it because that's what brought me to your channels, bro. Originally, I was like, wow, these guys are on top of this stuff.
So you'd think if they wanted to convince anybody of this shit, it would have been us. But yeah, like I messaged Terry Metalis and he blocked me from messaging him anymore. And I haven't heard anything since. So we'll see.
I would guess that people higher than him told him to do so.
I was going to say.
Even though, Midnight's Edge would definitely give him a fair shake. A very fair shake.
That's the thing, CC. I think you're right. We've been on their radar for some time. We know that Kurtzman's folks are no fans of us. We're not necessarily saying that Kurtzman himself is aware of us, although we have heard he is. But we do know that there are people in the offices that are well aware of us. Doomcock, obviously Gary and others. And I've had a few people say, "Oh, we'll try and put a word in for you with Terry," but I don't think it's going to matter because I think you're right, CC. I think we're already on that blacklist.
Do you think, Tom?
I'm on the brown list, Tom.
Do you think it has something to do? Because I mean, before I was obviously ever doing a channel, I was just a listener of your videos and learning about the controversy. To me, that's all it was, is just controversy. I didn't understand with Star Trek, but I feel you along with, like, I guess you could say Dave Coleman were some of the earliest channels to my memory to cover what was going on with this franchise. You think because you were one of the first ones put on notice, possibly, or at least it feels like you were one of the first ones put on notice to be among their blacklist? Do you think it has something to do with that? You just never escaped that list?
Yeah, no, I don't think we ever escaped any list, period. No. And whether or not some of these guys actually obtained the show through CBS or not, I was led to believe by certain people that basically they did. So either way,
I'm wondering about that. Some of them have said that they didn't acquire it through them, that they just found, they weren't handed to it. They didn't have it handed to them. And I'm wondering about if that's true or not. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but look at the big CC.
I don't know what he's eating there.
He's got a ice creaming something.
What is that?
He stole Joe Biden's ice cream.
Yogurt bar.
Bar.
Oh, that looks
Wow,
like
that's real
chocolate chip
professional,
cookie
Culture
dough.
Casino. Good job.
He's trying to steal Paul Chato's shtick.
Yep.
Welcome to the program, Culture. But yeah, as you were saying, Clubby, sorry.
No, I was just saying I'm not saying anyone got it from, Paramount or whoever they got it, but I do wonder. It makes me wonder how they got all 10 episodes.
The only one I know for sure is R&B. He got it from somebody who knew somebody or whatever. And then Terry contacted him and said, "How the fuck did you get it?"
Yeah.
And that's kind of where that friendship started. But like the Pop Gas guys and some of the other guys, as far as I know, they went through the proper channels, as far as I know, to get these screeners. So I don't know.
Proper channels.
I can't specifically confirm or deny anybody's access to these because I didn't have any access to them. So,
and when you do
which
that,
is weird because usually Robert, let's be real. I mean, it's obvious that in the past he's passed us a lot of stuff. Clearly, like at this point, it's pretty obvious. He's even come out and said that that's where we got it from. So I can't deny some of that stuff, but that was a lot of our earlier stuff too. So,
yeah. Well, I know the first 6 was given to a lot of people in the media.
Yeah, that could be, but that's the thing is a lot of these
wrote blogs on it. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these guys either got the first 6 and then got another chunk, or they got actually the whole series from somewheres. But
and that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago that R&B got it, though. I mean, this is like almost a year ago. He's talking about it.
Well, I'm sure he got it from somebody that was either in editing or special effects or something like that. I would imagine. I mean, and that's the thing. Robert knows a lot of people. He's very humble about the people that he's known, met, and come across, and that he talks to on a regular basis. Like, I've told him, you need to start taking advantage of some of that shit, man.
Yeah, his ego is very much in check. He's a good guy.
What's that?
His ego is very much in check.
Oh God, yes, yeah.
He's a great guy.
He's like because like I've talked to him several times. I'm not gonna like express all of what we talked about, but it's like I've told him, like, dude, you can't be that humble, man. You know all these people. You might as well bring them on. Like, I'm not saying I told him and he did it because I said something, but there was a time we had a conversation where I'm like, Brian Fuller, get him in there. You know these people, get him in there. And he's done it. So I mean, and he's also got like a bunch of footage and other stuff from when he was working on behind the scenes and movies and stuff. I'm like,
sure,
shit, find out if you own that footage, you can release it, right? Like, I mean, you might have to have somebody sign off on it, like Peter Jackson for the Lord of the Rings stuff and whatnot, and Bryan Singer for the Superman stuff. But I mean, if he did the filming and he was under his own production company when he did it, he technically owns it, as far as I can understand. That's neither here nor there. That's just Robert. It's like he is very humble. But let's see what we got going on in the chat here. Rip Star Trek says, I wish nothing but horrible things. Oh, we got this one already. Doomed Huh sends in $2 and says another reboot in 2026 would have been horrible. Well, it wasn't so much a reboot from what we were hearing, is that they were just going to kind of reset things back to the way they were, kind of thing. They were going to just kind of ignore all this other crap. And that doesn't mean that
it would have been horrible, though. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean they're still not going to delegate a lot of this stuff to a alternate timeline. That's very plausible. But we'll see. The Waltman says some interesting stuff that came out from Cameron's Patreon yesterday with interesting tidbits info. Only thing I will say is Indy 5 has to profit. I heard about this. I haven't seen the video yet, but yeah, if you guys want to comment who have seen it, go right ahead. I haven't had a chance.
I mean, the gist of it is that Cameron and DC both got reports from their own independent sources without talking to each other first, and made the same reports. Well, Cameron on Patreon and DC on his own. And then they realized that they made the same reports from two different sources, and they thought, well, okay, there might be something to this. And obviously, Cameron has met his source and verified the identity of the person he's talking to, so that person is who they say they are at the very least. And what they are saying is that Iger has threatened to fire Kathleen Kennedy with cause if Indy 5 does not make a profit. And that Kathleen Kennedy started talking to people around, her friends and whatnot, or people around the office about it because she was angry with it, and that led to kind of a telephone game of information coming down to Cameron's sources.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything either way on that. I'd like to believe it, but I doubt it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
because Indy 5 is going to have to do a lot to make profit. That's the problem, because we already know it's cost over $300 million to make.
That might be conservative at this point.
Exactly. We have no actual money on that, number on that. But yeah, Culture, you got anything to say on that?
I don't know that Indiana Jones is capable of making a profit.
He ate his yogurt too fast. He's got a headache now.
I do have a little bit of a brain freeze.
Brain freeze.
Yeah. Sorry, I needed blood sugar badly, and but no. Getting back to it, I don't think that film's capable of making a profit. I don't think that you have a box office demand for it. I think that if it exceeds $700 million, I'll be surprised. Believe it or not. Disney has been going the wrong direction with every one of their releases recently. Doesn't matter what they're pulling from. An official number?
No. An unofficial number? There's a lot of them.
Yeah. The reshoots have cost them plenty. Delaying the film a calendar year has cost them plenty.
No, just from what we understand right now, the budget's somewhere in the 300 plus range.
Last number I heard was 360.
Yeah, I was gonna say even broaching or whatever the word is I'm looking for, the 400 range actually.
Yeah,
like
we're hearing advertising on top of all of that.
Yeah,
and
well, they did a Super Bowl spot too. Yeah.
$7 million for that Super Bowl spot.
Yep. So I mean, it's not unreasonable to think it might need $800 to $1 billion just to break even. It could very well be in that range, which would be difficult without it being awesome and getting a lot of great traction and legs on it. Like that would be very, very difficult. If it comes out of the gate to awful reception and people start talking to their friends and saying, "Oh, it's awful," and is it? I mean, there's no way.
One thing we've seen, obviously, over the last couple of years, post-COVID, more than ever, is that we've seen the power of the internet, the power of social media, the power of influence and word of mouth has never been greater or faster than ever. It will simultaneously fuel the excitement of a film like John Wick or Spider-Man or Top Gun and keep it going and keep movies with strong financial legs. Yet simultaneously, on the flip side, if it sucks, people find out fast and they find out quick. You see how I rhymed the John Wick with the quick on that? No.
Very good, Mikey.
Yeah.
C-Man sends in $10 and says, could they buy out Kurtzman and make him go away, or at least put in performance clauses so if he fails, again, they can breach the contract? Okay, we have no idea what's going into these contracts. His original contract, I believe, was going up till 2025, 26 anyway, which is when they were talking about doing a big celebration for the 60th anniversary and ostensibly, delegating all Kurtzman's crap to another alternate universe and going back to kind of formula. But I guess from what we've been hearing, and again, this is going off of what we had in the video and just the little bit going out there and speculating a little bit more, is that there's a lot of characters and stuff that Kurtzman owns under Secret Hideout. Not only that, I've been told by a few people that CBS actually has some kind of stake in Secret Hideout anyway. So it's not like they're going to get rid of him that easily either way. But in this case, it's like they're renegotiating everything. So he won't be having as much control in his new contract either, from what I've been hearing. So I don't know how that's going to play out. But it sounds like he's going to be around till at least 2030, though, is what we've been hearing. Which would take him another 5-6 year extended contract, basically. So we'll
I'd like to
see.
hope they're aware that this particular season of Picard has been received better, and it's the thing that he hasn't had a whole lot of creative input on.
Well, that's the thing, is we're hearing that Terry is a big part of this, supposedly. Now, we can't confirm or deny. I know the few people I talked to that have talked to Terry wouldn't confirm or deny anything because they really couldn't, and he hadn't said too much yet, but he says there is some things that might be happening, but at that point, he hadn't really said for sure yet. And even if there was, I'm sure he can't talk about it yet. Right?
There are aspects of the show that remind me a lot of his previous show, 12 Monkeys, which I love, and that's why I gave Picard Season 3 a shot. So I could see there being a lot of similarities.
Yeah, so we'll have to see here how this plays out, but hopefully Terry's a part of it. If anything, CBS, from what we've been hearing, knows that he played a big role in what success, or at least the response Picard has had in the news, or in the fan sphere. I mean, Nikki D says, "Did you guys hear the report that Feige's angry at Alonso for pursuing money from Disney through legal action? Apparently, those two fought before. I don't know about the Feige aspect of it, but that actually takes us to one of our next topics here. Believe it or not, because Marvel is just having a week." And Variety points out here, Marvel's big mess. Victoria Alonso's contentious exit presents a rare public drama for the studio. From the box office disappointment of Quantumania to assault allegations against Jonathan Majors, Marvel Studio is facing one crisis after another. Yes, and it's starting to come out more and more that Alonso may be going after money more so because she didn't get any money on her way out, as we had, I think, speculated more so than anything at the time, but it's become obvious that that's the case. And as far as the Jonathan Majors thing, that thing just keeps getting weirder and weirder. But yeah, so there's some pretty interesting things in here. So let's start here with the Victoria Alonso stuff. It says, She's always been a huge part of Marvel. Former Marvel Studios executive Jeremy Locksham of Guardians of the Galaxy told Variety back in March 26th. I was very surprised to see the news. I hope all gets worked out, that everyone ends up friends. It's a great group of people that have always been really kind to each other. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a thing. So basically, this is almost like another confirmation of the firing right there. That's somebody from Marvel, and that was just from the other day. Alas, it already has. Sources at Disney say Alonso was fired over her decision to moonlight for Amazon Studios as a producer for the Oscar-nominated international film Argentina 1985 without notifying the company's management audit organization, a committee that approves extracurricular business activities. For example, Disney film executive Sean Bailey got his approval to invest in Termana, Dwayne Johnson's tequila company. Things have become untenable, these sources say, after Alonso continued to promote Argentina 1985 during the awards season, despite signing an amended employment agreement expressly forbidding her from doing so. Alonso's attorney, Patty Glazer, calls the contention absolutely ridiculous and counters that the executive was terminated when she refused to do something she believed was reprehensible.
Her job?
That was not, though what that was remains unclear. Yeah, her job.
Maybe it was her job.
It's hard to say what it was. It's a good question. Representatives for Marvel and I think, you want to know what this is? I think this is in reference to what we were hearing, Mikey. I think this is where she was told to shut the fuck up, stay the hell off the red carpet, no more press.
Yep. I think
to her, that's
also,
reprehensible.
no one's talked about that comment that she made where she put her, there was that little comment in the Variety article that said, they put their phones down and said, look, it's two women on the red carpet at the Oscars. We're going to be here for a long. I mean, there was a constant
that rings of that exactly,
and
yes.
and that's just what we caught on camera that was released to us, Tom. Can you imagine how much more of that there probably is at cocktail parties, special events, fundraisers, corporate meetings, events, retreats? We just saw, I believe at this point that we now barely are seeing the skim, we call it skimming the tip of the iceberg on the extent, the depth and the breadth of which she was a problem.
Yeah. Hey, I see yellow flash in the chat. How you doing, buddy? Message me if you're free. I'll give you a link if you'd like. But anyway, moving on here. Representatives from Marvel also and Alonso declined to comment for the story. Adding to the acrimony is Alonso's contention that she was silenced after a speech at the 2022 GLAAD Awards in which the executive, who is openly gay, called out Disney's then CEO Bob Chapek by name for his treatment of Florida's Don't Say Gay bill. While Alonso did sit for several interviews in the months following her speech, she doesn't appear to have done any press for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, studio's first major awards season contender since the original Black Panther. So there's another thing. She was out there promoting Argentina and shit like that on the red carpet, but she didn't fucking promote Black Panther. That probably also pissed him off.
You know why? You know why?
Because she was being punished. That's why. So she was punishing them.
No.
Why is that?
I should keep my mouth shut.
No more. No more talk about that.
We'll talk about it offline. I don't want to say it on the show.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Outside of the film's red carpet premiere, where she briefly spoke with Variety and other outlets. The prevailing theme of the press Alonso has done recently is her passionate belief in broadening representation at Marvel. Ding, 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 ding. Which makes her acrimonious departure from Disney that much more notable. She's arguably the film industry's most prominent Latino executive, making a point of aligning herself with organizations at the intersection of the communities she represents. Where is the representation then in Marvel? As I brought up the other morning, such as Reframe, the initiative founded and led by women in film and Sundance Institute to promote diversity on film sets and in executive suites. Or is that suits? I don't care. Anytime we call Victoria and ask for something, whether in her official capacity at Marvel or to participate as a mentor, she always said yes, says Women in Film CEO Kristen Schaefer, describing Alonso as having had a profound impact on gender equity in the business.
Oh, for God's sake.
Her willingness to engage and stand up for women and other underrepresented people is unparalleled. There are few people who do
Except for
she
Black
does.
Panther.
Yeah, well, not only that, like I said to you, where's your Latino representation in the Marvel universe?
Well, we got one. He was the wetback named Namor.
Exactly. So that's what she's done for your people.
Yeah, she brought a Mexican. She brought a Mexican, turned the rest of his people blue, and she made sure that when he came on the beach, he was a wetback, and that when he got defeated, his weakness was Home Depot space heaters. Yeah, good job. I mean, in a tragic twist in the Wakanda Forever, Mexican Namor gets taken down by Home Depot space heaters.
Not
it was
more.
pretty bad. It was terrible.
Yeah, like Yellow Flash said, Namor is now a hand-me-down. Exactly.
Of course.
As far as I'm aware, Namor was never in the MCU.
He's we go not more.
Yeah, not more.
Namor.
Not more.
Namor.
No more.
Almost
Namor.
all
Namor.
those, as Eric July says about the tokenized characters, almost all of them are a hand-me-down. Like, seriously, almost all of them are a hand-me-down. Like, and he's just the next one in line.
And he happens to be their oldest character, and yet they treat him like that. Horrible. Absolute garbaggio.
No, I mean, it's people who don't respect, the source material, and they don't care because it's a big giant IP that they don't have any attachment to.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas there's guys like Bill Everett or Ditko or Kirby, obviously they grew up with these characters, had life experiences, and channel that life experience energy into all these characters that they help give to the world. And it became this thing, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of people growing with these characters and falling in love with them, passing on to generations. Now we've lost now we're losing a generation on these characters because of what they're doing with them now.
I still really want to see Namor as an Ed Wood. Since I read the comic where he's like a studio head.
It's not Namor. Don't buy into this. It's Namor.
Not
Namor.
more.
Okay.
Jesus, you're buying into it. You see, they're
Namor.
brainwashing you, CZ.
I like saying Subby.
Yeah, Submariner. Hello.
Okay, Submariner.
God,
Subby for short. Yeah. He is not that.
He's not Namor at all. Full stop.
I should change my name from Mexican Iron Man to Mexican Wetback. I don't know.
Oh, hey now.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you can say that, but I can't. I can't call you.
I'm brown. I'm Mexican. I can say what I want.
I can't call on you, though, with that.
Oh, that's a good point. Like, how would you introduce me on the live stream? And guest hosting today would be... Can you imagine, Andre? Yes. And joining us today
Polly,
for the
we
morning
cannot say that
show
anymore.
Is a Mexican blank.
Mexican blank. A Mexican whose back is not as dry as others. That's how he would say it.
Heaters do go dry after a while.
Likewise,
Yes, sir.
GLAD president and CEO Sarah Kate Ellis hails Alonso as a pioneer in the entertainment. Oh, wait, did I get this one? No, I didn't get to this part yet. This just keeps going on with more of this crap. Pioneer in the entertainment industry who advocated for the inclusion of LGBTQ people, women, and people of color, both on camera and behind the scenes. Her visibility as a top industry executive continues to call attention to the urgent need to grow diversity among leadership in studios and networks, Ellis said. Ben Lopez, who worked with Alonso when she was executive director at the National Association of Latino Independent Producers, says he wasn't surprised that Alonso used her industry clout to champion Argentina 1985, a project about the trial of the military juntas that ruled her birthplace. Juntas? Oh, yeah. You guys never say the J. I forget that.
Nope.
It's Papayan. It is consistent with her ethos, which is all I can see here is that she's really into advocating shit. She was an advocate, all right. And she got where she was because she was a part of all the advocate associations.
Yep.
Right.
I don't see her fucking thing here saying that she grew up loving comic books.
Nope.
And even though she was a Hispanic woman or a woman of Latina descent or whatever you want to, how do you say it, Mikey? Please help me out here.
Fake Hispanic?
A fake Hispanic.
Wow.
She used that to get into the industry instead of like her actual talent. Right?
Yep.
Yep.
Pretty much.
that's nowadays it's not about the talent. It's about what boxes you check off as far as what the identity is. Like it's clear that they're tossing out these meritocracy talent rules. Like I don't get it because like they must have some serious investors that are backing them like no tomorrow. Because if this were like a normal company, they would have been gone years ago. Years ago.
I'm sure she was a crappy manager. I can just hear her now, like in the CJ thing. Okay, guys, we need more. Okay, we need more ants here, and we need more ants over there, and we need more ants. And you know what? Socialism is not bad for the ant community.
Oh, she was a tyrant from what we were hearing, and a bully. A bully was another word that was thrown around.
Yeah, look there at that Glad speech. She sounded like a bully.
But she is the specific reason why I posted this today. Where I said, like, somebody's like, oh, this is why representation matters. Of course, this isn't Marvel, but it's still Disney. And as I said here, no, this is just another form of racism.
Yep.
Kids are being taught that it matters, just like racism.
Yep.
So you're basically installing racism by making them think they can't relate or empathize or sympathize with anyone who doesn't look like them. This is the kind of shit.
Teaching bad grammar too.
I'd argue, I mean, maybe not even argue, but maybe I could just add to what you're saying. I feel like it's just, just solidifying narcissism because you're limiting their mindset to when we got into characters like playing with our toys, whether it was G.I. Joe or Spider-Man, we became those characters regardless of how we looked like. We imagine ourselves because seeing those characters like were inspirations of being like, at the peak of like human perfection. Now they want to be the opposite. And it's teaching youngins, even teenagers, to not have imagination. Like to not have that to like take yourself outside of like the real world, to lack the escapism, and that's clearly done with intent to take out the escapism, to say, hey, the more you don't think outside the book, the more we make you not have an imagination. It's really sad to see that being taught as a mindset, because the more you put that on the kids, they're gonna like think like imagining things is gonna be too hard for them because they're taught to only think within what looks like them.
What I love is this next bit here, because you know what this means? This means that the Twitter folk, the woke folk, they're freaking the fuck out right now. While in industry, text message chains and Slack conversations have been swarming with speculation about what happened and where Alonzo will land next, there hasn't been a significant public uproar. I think people are nervous to rock the boat, one veteran producer speaking at Variety on the condition of an anonymity and surmises. Nobody wants to upset Disney. Yeah, guess what? Now this industry leader questioned what impact Alonzo's exit could have on her forthcoming memoir, which was originally set to be published by Disney's Hyperion Avenue imprint in May. Like, this goes back into what we were saying before. Disney owns your biography rights, kids. Culture. You want to comment on that real quick?
Okay, so as part of a lot of executives, especially the higher ups, especially people that they anticipate are going to be culturally relevant, as part of the contract, you will often find within the contract the opportunity for Disney to not only release under their publishing arm or their negotiated publishing rights with another publisher your memoir. They also will help you, I'm putting that in quotes, with a ghostwriter. So you will find that will happen somewhat frequently. In fact, technically, I believe Iger's negotiated deal was actually done through their publishing arm, although I don't believe they actually did the publishing themselves. So this is once again part of the contracts that are set in motion with a lot of these people. In fact, the only way that she was going to be allowed to release anything publicly about herself in the form of a memoir would have been to have gone through Disney as part of that contract. So there you are. What happens now? Who knows? You can only speculate. But as far as I know, those rights are still in Disney's wheelhouse. So,
yeah. How long do you got here yet, Culture?
About 5 minutes, 6 minutes.
All right.
Yeah.
If you give somebody that caliber of a platform like the book, blah, blah, we're going to get past that crap. Who cares? Plenty of people in the business believe that they are indispensable and fly too close to the sun, and then are shocked to find that they are no longer in a job. This producer says They add that while Alonso's track record is certainly extraordinary and impressive, and she's earned the right to be outspoken, I don't think anybody earns the right to breach their contract. Boom!
Wow.
Alonso's messy exit would be bad enough for Marvel, but it comes amid fierce headwinds from all directions. See, and this is the beauty of it, kids. This is the main. This is what Andre and some of the other guys keep talking about when they say when this kind of shit gets into the main papers like these, because this is where the papers the industry reads, right? Because normally they are hedging everything for Disney. This is a hedging, but this is also like hedging very bad news, right? I don't know if you want to comment on that, Culture, before you head out, because I think that's pretty obvious, especially with the failure of Ant-Man and Wasp. And then the Jonathan Majors news, which we haven't even got to yet, which I'll give you a chance to comment before you skip out here on us.
Yeah, I hate to do that, but yeah, there's a lot here. Disney's had some instability in a lot of different ways for quite some time. And I don't think that the fact that they're having dueling lawsuits from two of their biggest brands is going to help them any, because they're getting attacked by an executive that got screwed over by Lucasfilm. And now you have an executive that feels like they've been screwed over by Marvel, both of which are Disney. So, and they're both represented by the same attorney. It's not going to be anything but messy. Now, it is pretty obvious that Disney will play hardball with Alonso. I don't think that's disputable. And I think if they allow it, to bypass arbitration, which is in her contract also, although now that contract's null and void, they're 100% right. There is no right in a contract to breach it unless somebody gives you something in writing saying, you know what, you can do this. You can't. I mean, this is the way contracts are written. I believe me, I've written thousands of contracts.
Right. Like, look, going into court, I mean, sure, Disney can sit there and go, and they're not going to say this, but like, this is what they're saying, really.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah,
did we Al Capone your ass a little bit? Yes, we fucking did. You bet your fucking ass we did. But guess what? You're still guilty of that on top of the 100 other fucking crimes we didn't get you for, bitch. So here's a check. Walk the fuck out and don't say shit. That's what's going to happen. I'll guarantee you it. It's not going to be a very big check, because let's be real. What this boils down to is they got rid of her. They went to legal, they went to HR, and they went to Kevin Feige, and all of them said, yep, go for it.
Well,
we're good to go here.
Yes, and anyone who speculates that she got a big check on the way out the door, no, this would not be a conflict if she did. And when you fire someone in California which is a at-will state for cause, they usually get slim to nothing on the way out the door.
Well, and that's what her lawyer is now stating, is that she basically didn't get anything, and they're going to try and fight for something here, even though they're trying to put it under the guise of. And this goes back to the original super chat that got us onto this topic, which we were going to cover anyway. But still, thank you again for that super chat. But to in response to that, this is in the guise of I've been wronged. I shouldn't have been fired. Well, what are you going to get out of this? You're going to want money, right? So clearly, yes, this is all about money now. That's what this is all about, regardless of the headlines. No matter how many headlines bring up the fact that she's a Latinx and everything else. It's all about the money now. And she didn't get what was probably set up to be a very nice, golden parachute out the door. And what they told her was, fuck you, you didn't get that because you breached your contract. So what? It's semantics. Like I said, we Al Capone'd your ass, bitch. Tough shit. What are you going to do about it? And what they're going to do is what Culture said. They're going to go to arbitration. She's going to get a check cut to her that's probably for a third of what her golden parachute was. And they're going to call it a fucking day. That's about it.
I agree.
And that's not even Disney necessarily saying, oh, we're guilty of anything. That's just them to pay her to get the fuck away. And they did it for a lot less than what they would have normally. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, she's going to have to sign an NDA that lasts the rest of her life, probably. But
she's in a no-win scenario here, no matter which way she cuts it, basically.
She's like I said, I mean, she put herself in this position. You never mess with, when you're on the edge, you never mess with a company that can like put you out on your ass. If you stop doing it, especially if they've given you a warning saying, do not do this. You don't do it anyway. That they've given you fair warning, and it even restructured around that contract with an addendum saying, you cannot do these things, which she signed. She's immediately in breach. So,
yeah, and then I'm not totally convinced that this wasn't set up for her to fail, which, I mean, if she can prove that, that's a different story, but I don't think she's going to be able to. But thank you, Culture, for what piddly time you did give us here.
yeah, I'm sorry.
You know why he left? Because I'm here.
Because you're here, but that's all right. We'll direct all money questions to Mikey going forward.
I'm the backup option. I'm like the Mexican casino.
No. You're the actual accountant here.
I'm the Mexican casino. I'm gonna.
You see that on your thing? You are the bestest YouTuber.
I honestly,
Oh,
See?
Jesus
Mike,
Christ. No.
Mikey, if you called yourself the Mexican casino, I would be honored. You know that.
Well, I should say that because it's
You
it's
don't.
it's a roll of the dice as to when Culture ever stays on the stream with me.
He's mine. You gotta fight me for him. Anyway, take care, Culture. We need to get back into this.
We get CC.
Article here. So on the Ant-Man front, with global grosses limping to the 500 million mark, it's unlikely to break even. It's going to lose money, kids. Let's be freaking real about this. There's no way around this. To weather criticism for the second-rate visual effects, one of Alonso's key domains, as VFX artists have repeatedly called out the studio, alleging it forces them to accept impossible hours and cut rate pay. So that's another thing leading into this firing. Meanwhile, on that note, one of Quantumanium's stars, Jonathan Major, was charged on March 26th with multiple counts of assault and harassment of an unnamed woman, which we've come to learn now is his current girlfriend. And this story just keeps getting more and more confusing, kids. The actor's lawyer states there's video evidence that exonerates him, but we have yet to see this video evidence. And despite that fact, the DA has still decided to go forward. And he's also supposed to be in season 2 of Loki, on top of it, according here, along with being, obviously the big bad for the MCU going forward until he's finally defeated, including headlining the new Avengers film, The Kang Dynasty. So yeah, this mess, I'm not going to get too deep into the whole ins and outs of the Jonathan Major situation. You're going to have to do a lot of the research yourself and kind of decide for yourself, because we have several different stories now. Either it's one incident and multiple accounts, and or multiple incidents with a bunch of shit surrounding it. I have a feeling we're going to learn more about it as the case unfolds. But what's more alarming is all the negativity that's coming out around this, right? There were some people that were already talking shit about him before.
Yes.
And now that this has happened, even more has come to light. That is not helping this actor's image at all. So, yeah, the deep fake artists are still working on the exonerated footage. That's true. But they better not get the same artists that work on Marvel, or it's going to suck. They're like, is that the Hulk?
Oh, man.
Hulk smash face! Sorry, that was not cool. Okay, so anyway, furthermore, Disney currently has no timetable for naming an executive or executives to take on Alonso's duties, even as several titles like this year's Marvels and Captain America New World Order work their way through the Marvel pipeline. It's certainly a big position to try and replace, Latchman says. It's really a massive job. This goes back to what we were saying before, or at least a script doctor had pointed this out, that we'll probably start hearing this nonsense about, her job was just so broad, we're going to need several people to handle it, right? Which just furthermore adds more credence to the fact that it was a bullshit position in the first place. Okay, guys, this was a lot to unpack here. I apologize for going on for so long. I'm going to take a breath now, and let's start with Klobby on the corner there. What's your reaction to all of this nonsense over the last week that we've been accumulating as far as the damage going on at Marvel right now?
Well, it's a big mess. I wish they would keep getting her name right. I hate when they misspell her name and it's the same as mine. It really makes me nervous because she's what a horrid creature she is. She's made her bed. It's just terrible. And I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about it. You covered it all pretty well. I don't know. It's just
All right, let me pose a question to you then.
Yes.
Let me make it easier for you, Klobby. What do you think Marvel's move is going forward here? Like, let's fucking forget about Alonzo for a minute. Let's get on to Jonathan Majors for just a second here.
Okay.
What do you think their move is with him going forward? Because we've already heard that the military has dropped their campaign with him, or at least has postponed it. So what do you think they're going to do about the character, the actor going forward? And then we'll go around the table.
I think they're probably going to I don't know if they're. I was about to say they might, if it really starts looking bad for him that he did it, that they would try to cut ties with him. Then I started thinking about Ezra Miller. I know they're not Marvel, but I don't know. They might, considering, I'm not going to say much beyond that they might stick by him and keep him in their movies, and you know, with all of his troubles. I mean, look what another company did for two really troublesome poison pills, and Amber Heard and Ezra Miller. I could see Disney doing the same crap. If this guy is, again, we don't know, no one knows yet. But if it starts looking really bad for him,
and that's a good point, because you're right. Warner Brothers quickly reacted one way when it came to the Amber Johnny situation, and they reacted a completely different way when it came to the Ezra Miller situation. Or I guess it depends on your point of view. They act similarly when it came to Amber and Ezra, but differently when it came to Johnny. But they're in a position where they had projects that were upcoming with these individuals. Disney, on the other hand, distanced themselves from Johnny Depp without even having a project in the pipeline.
But this guy's a part of a bunch of stuff coming up, though.
That's what I'm saying. And so, like, in the past, usually Disney don't F around if you got somebody who's got an issue like this. They have not had a problem. I mean, even when it comes down to salary disputes, I mean, Terrence Howard, let's ask him about that. You know what I mean? Like, so
there you go.
In this respect, I mean, of course, that was in the days of Perlmutter too. Let's be fair, but I don't know. I mean, that's a good. You think they're going to stick by him? All right, CC. What do you think?
Only if it gets really, really bad.
Right. Well, that's fair. CC, what do you think?
Go ahead.
I would say that although sometimes guilty people are exonerated and found innocent, and that's obviously a caveat, we have an increasingly long list of people right now who have been found guilty by people in general on the reports in the news before they reach trial, only to be exonerated in the long term. And this goes all the way back to even Kevin Spacey, where a lot of one of the first kind of people to get put on the board. I don't know if he did it or didn't, but he did succeed in the court of law. And Masterson, who was canceled from his Netflix show, also was exonerated on at least some of his charges so far. We have a very, very long list at this point. Very good point. And
no, that's a very astute observation, CC.
Yeah, so I would just caution to withhold judgment over this particular matter, given the history of matters that have not gone as they seem so far. As far as what Disney's going to do, I don't even know. I mean, I'd like to believe that they might see that same reality in front of them, but I think we're already seeing that he's losing all of his. He's being stripped away of everything before he's even had his day in court.
Yeah, that's very true. But again, on the other end, you also have an attorney who claims to have video evidence that will exonerate him, but yet we have yet to see it. And I don't know if that's a legal reason for that, but it's in most other cases we've seen the video ahead of time.
It's definitely very interesting. When I watched WDW Pro's video, he made a point that I liked, that this is his attorney saying that. And if you hire an attorney for yourself, they're going to defend you and say that you're innocent one way or the other. Yeah. So we do need to kind of wait and see there as well.
And I noticed that yesterday too, because even Yellow Flashes in the chat here had posted what the attorney had said. And there was a lot of people assuming that was just like some kind of official announcement or something. It's like, no, that came from his attorney. Of course his attorney is going to say that. His attorney is biased and she has to protect her client. But at the same time, if you claim to have this evidence, then let's see it, right? Or at least hopefully it will come to pass. But the thing is she was actually meeting with the DA the day before that, and they went through all this stuff, and yet the DA still decided to go forward with these charges. That's the part that's alarming for me. So it's like, okay, is there something we're missing here? And again, even if the victim alleged victim, let's say, sorry, has recanted her statements as the lawyer claims. That may be, but then where are these statements, right? Like, what is going on here? There's a lot more that seems to be that needs questions. There's a lot more questions there is answers, because, like I said, we've got two different situations where he called the night before, she went to the cop shop the next day. We have various stories from the cab driver. He claims nothing was wrong or went down that was supposedly according to the lawyer. Now, again, I have to emphasize that, but yet dropped them off at two separate places. And then yet we're still confused on, did it happen in the cab or did it happen at their residence? Or did it happen at both? Right? Like, that's what we got so many conflicting reports now that until this actually gets to court, I don't know if we're going to know the truth. But I think the bigger damage is done with the fact that you got all these stories coming out now. It's like an Ellen situation. The blood's in the water. The sharks are coming out to say, yeah, I've dealt with this guy before. Or this is what I've been trying to tell people, so on and so forth. So, CC, do you think they're going to replace him, or do you think they're going to stick with him, like Klobby said?
Well, I mean, we still have Ezra Miller, and if he's not going to be replaced, I don't think that Kang is necessarily going to be replaced. Plus, it would cost a lot of money, and it'd be very, very difficult. On the other hand, given the multiverse, they can very easily kill him off, because they already did. I think it would be easy for Disney to wait on this, because they could eliminate him later without too much difficulty, I think. But that's also dependent on how far they go with their filming process. I mean, if they filmed 5 or 6 projects that he's the lead in, it becomes more difficult.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Maybe Terrence Howard's getting ready for his comeback to the MCU. He's like, I can be Kang.
They could recast him.
Nick got where I was coming from, though. So, Nick, what's your take on all this? What do you think they're going to do with?
I will not be surprised if they recast him. And we have a habit in Hollywood, especially in the last 6-7 years, where when we look at what happened with like Justin Roiland from Rick and Morty, who they all reacted quickly, there's no evidence, and then boom, he's exonerated, not even a month later. Or we look at, obviously, the Marilyn Manson situation. I know he's music, but there's still
that was another one
still
recently.
A correlation. Yeah. They threw the book at him like no tomorrow.
And that fell apart like tissue paper, exactly, yeah.
And he's exonerated, and it was like, and not when you also throw in also what's going on with Victoria Alonso, the firing, and on top of it, Jonathan Majors is a rising star. And what happens when a rising star is on the rise? I mean, this is the perfect storm to throw at someone who's on the rise. And on top of it, a great distraction. Now, I'm not saying it's a set. I do believe this is an incident that took place on its own merits. I just believe it's being blown up to gloss over Alonso in that aspect. But something is very funky about this, and maybe I could be wrong. And if Majors did actually do wrong, obviously, yes, he should go because of that. But I truly believe something tells me he's actually innocent, and he's still going to get replaced anyway, because we have a habit of now reacting very quickly and replacing. And yet, look at all the evidence that was out there with receipts attached for Ezra Miller right off the bat, too. And boom, he keeps his job. So we seem to have a habit of when there's evidence, don't fire. But if there's no evidence, but there's hearsay, well, we can't them anyways, because we can't have the blowback of what people are saying versus what they are actually seeing. So I think right now, as I stand right now, I truly believe he's actually innocent. I truly believe that. And like I said, I'm open to being wrong because evidence is evidence, but I truly believe he's innocent.
Learn it? Did you want to fight? Is that the deal? Whoa, bro. Fight?
Just a reminder.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, we're getting a very varied opinion here on this whole situation, which I like. I do like this. This is a very nuanced conversation on this, and we got a lot of varied point of views on this, and I think they're all valid in a sense of like they can all possibly happen. They are all very well expressed so far. So Mikey, what are you thinking happens here, especially coming from your corporate mind?
Well, I'm going to take it from a personal legal angle here, which is
that works. There we go.
I'm going to go a totally different angle and drop some stuff live that I've never talked about, which is that, those are saying like, there must be something here. He's got to be guilty. Not necessarily. And I'm going to tell you why. A little over 10 years ago, I had an ex that went crazy on me. I called the cops on her. She in turn flipped it and beat herself with a hanger in order to make it look like DV. And I got arrested, charged, spent the weekend in jail, and then spent the better part of a year proving my innocence.
Oh my goodness.
At the end of the day, thank God I had evidence. At the end of the day, thank God I had enough evidence, and I made that phone call, and I was able to prove that I was completely and totally innocent, that she was like crazy wacko psycho and all this other stuff. But I came very close to my entire life being completely and totally lost. I had to resign from all my boards that I was on, and I was a leader in the community. I had to disclose it to the accounting board that I had because these are felony charges and the whole 9 yards. And she made up the whole thing. And literally, she beat herself with a metal and wood hanger, and ultimately admitted it that she was just doing it because she was jealous that I got a new girlfriend and I wouldn't take her back. So, I'm going to watch this with a keen eye. But having been through something similar, and I don't know if this guy did it or not, but I can say that the court system and life in general is screwed up, and we've lost our way in this country in many ways.
Okay, so not on a personal view, then, as a corporate situation, then what would you do with this regardless?
What I would do with this, I would contact his agent immediately, because Disney's got a lot of stuff wrapped up in this guy. And so what I would do is I would contact his agent immediately and tell him they need to get these, whatever this attorney said that he's got, that he's going to get this cleared out. He's going to prove he's innocent. That needs to happen ex post facto immediately, because the last thing that Disney needs is a signature Hallmark character, which is what he is. You can argue whether you like King or not, but this is a signature Hallmark character. They have got to make sure that this thing does not spin out of control. Because with the problems that they've already got, this is the last thing they need. And frankly, if I had half a brain to Marvel and I were looking around, I would say, hey, we don't want to do what DC did. We don't want these problems. So let's fix this, get to the bottom of it right here, right now. And if he's innocent, then it needs to be proven fast, immediately.
That's a good point. But going back to what Nick was just saying here, though, he's not. I think if he is innocent, let's just say for the sake of argument, he is innocent, then he will likely get something that somebody like Marilyn Manson and even Johnny Depp did not, right? And that is the fanfare, all the headlines, and all that kind of crap. So he does have that going for him. I agree with you, Mike. I think that's a factor here. But yeah, my take on this is a whole can of worms. Because look, the only reason I'm kind of at this point, and I do empathize and sympathize with what you're saying, Mike. I've seen similar situations and had friends, maybe even been in close to similar situations myself. But if it wasn't for the Me Too movement and some of that kind of shit, Mike, I would think this guy's guilty as hell. And I'll tell you why, because everything that's come out about him. And this whole thing stinks to high heaven. What I do think he's got, though, is he's got a good publicist and a good lawyer. And I think Disney helped with that, because he did call the night of. Because that means that he called somebody and said, look, I was just in this altercation with my girlfriend, probably my ex-girlfriend, but what do I do? And they said, well, first things first, report it to the cops before she does, so you can get ahead of it. And then secondly, is there any witnesses? Is there any video? What's the deal? So then their lawyer got on that. And again, if she recanted, here's what I think. And again, this is all pure speculation on my part. I think... as we heard the original story, they were riding in the cab on the way home. He caught her texting some other bitch, called him out on it, tried grabbing his phone. She grabbed her hand, pushed it away. They got into a squabble in the cab. Now, the cab driver claims nothing happens, but he still sent him off at different places, meaning he could tell there was some kind of argument about to go down otherwise. He went home after he got dropped off somewhere else, continued to argue with her, or she started to argue up with him again, when he was trying to get his shit, and that's when the things got physical. And I'm not saying that she didn't start it. I'm not saying that he started it. I'm not saying, I think they both might have done gotten physical in this situation because they were both probably fucking drunk as hell and being stupid, and he shouldn't have been texting some other bitch, especially when he's around his girlfriend of all fucking people. So again, it's both. I think both parties are equally guilty in this situation, and that's probably why she wants to recant, because she's probably seen the video again too and probably forgot half the shit she did and said. Just like I'm sure it doesn't make him look too good, and that's why he's got charges on him. Because the problem of it is the moment he got physical was probably worse than what she did, sadly enough. And again, I am just fucking speculating here. But what you have now is a PR goddamn nightmare for a company that already has enough PR nightmares that they can't even shake a stick at them right now. And this is the last thing they fucking need for their biggest franchise on the planet. And I will be honest with you, I don't think he has much longer to stay in the Marvel Universe. I think they are going to replace him. This
Can I
is
ask you a
just my
quick question?
speculation.
That is one big thing that came out. Are these other people that want to, say, hey, they've had bad experiences? That didn't happen with me. I had an outpouring of community support for me. But I'm just saying there might be something to something, because why would people all of a sudden come out of the woodwork and say they've had bad experiences with them, right? I mean, you can't make that up, or would you make that? I mean, that was just weird, right? What Andre was talking about earlier.
Something to that effect. I think on Mr. H's channel, if that was you're referring to.
Yeah, where Andre, when Andre came on.
Yeah, and
what do you think about that?
I don't know. What do you guys think? Clobby? Clobby's not here. CC?
It's a very, very difficult one to dissect. I do think I love your point. I think that both the man and the woman in a relationship can both be abusive in different situations, and sometimes they can both be abusive to each other. So there's a very realistic possibility that they've both been abusing each other in this situation. He may be an aggressive personality, and if we hear people coming out and talking poorly about him, they may be jumping on the immediate bandwagon of the news. It's possible that he's a little difficult to get along with. That doesn't mean that he's a woman beater.
Yes,
there's
two things can be true.
Yeah. So I would say definitely that. Maybe he's just a little bit difficult, not necessarily an awful human being. We can only prove that when you can prove it. But he may just be, he may be dramatic a little bit, get into arguments with people. He may have poor taste in women. There may be a lot of things, that are not the extreme example.
I think it's a hurricane of all these things together, right? Clobby's back here. Did you want to comment on that, or?
You hear me now? No.
Yeah, Mikey, did you want to reiterate that real quick?
I just lost all. I didn't get to hear half the things he just said because I just came back on my computers. I'm back now. I think it's working. Sorry, go ahead. Just go out, man. I'm good. I got to figure this out here.
Oh, that's fine.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, okay, I couldn't for a minute there. I'm sorry. But go ahead. Just go on. I'm good. I'll catch up. Sorry.
All right. No, I think CC made pretty much what I would have said to it too. But Nick, did you have anything else to add or subtract to that?
I mean, you guys pretty much just added to it. Really, I don't really got anything new that adds to it. I just obviously this is a young case, and I think they do got to speed up considering how major his part is in the MCU, and they got to really, because if they want to make this happen, whether it's a guilty or not verdict, we need to know soon, because if they at least sped it up and then they showed the evidence and he was guilty, it's like, okay, fine, we see the evidence, he needs to go. But right now I'm still standing on what I said earlier. I would not be surprised if he's innocent. And this is not, I don't have any attachment to this guy. I've only watched one thing with him in it, so I don't have like this investment. I have no skin in the game. This is just, I'm looking at this from lenses of what I've seen in the last 6-7 years. That's all I got.
There you go. All right, Mikey, anything else you wanted to add? Or
I didn't even consider the possibility that they recast him completely and that he wouldn't belong for this universe. But
no, I think that's the easiest answer for Disney.
I think you're right. I didn't even think about that from that
Guilty
standpoint.
or not at this point, like they just don't need the PR nightmare. They got enough other problems.
That builds on what I was saying about looking over and seeing what happens with DC and the Flash and Ezra, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
think
don't
I
know.
agree with you.
And
Yeah.
from what I was hearing there, the only reason they were sticking with Ezra because at that point they didn't want to spend any more money on the fucking movie.
That's a good point. No, I think you're right. They probably should just go ahead and cut loose with him, but if they can, if they don't have anything that much invested in him, yeah.
I mean,
Or
if we go by this article, basically the only other thing he's probably filmed to this point has been Loki.
Okay.
So
The other thing they have going for them is the multiverse storyline. They can recast part of his parts of movies that have or projects that have already been filmed and call it two different versions of Kang.
you could do that, or you could just recast it and not even bring attention to it, like the Mark Ruffalo bit.
Yeah.
You know. And on that note, we've been getting more news of course, returning cast members from the Hulk universe and other things there. But a bit come across, since we're on this topic, I just wanted to get your guys' reaction to this, because we got a little bit more casting news from Deadpool 3, which
that
kind of supports that. Yeah, and this was just I can't remember who this guy was. Let me see here. I got it on my thing.
I have a feeling this movie will be different
Matthew
than the first two.
McFadden. Yeah, Matthew McFadden has been cast. But there was another bit that caught my eye instead, speaking of Loki, because this Caps Quartet, notice this, and I double-checked it. It does list it on his Google, that Tom Hiddleston is in the cast of Deadpool 3.
I
so
heard
does that
about
mean
that.
we're getting Loki in Deadpool 3 as well?
I have a feeling he's going to do Loki season 2, and then after that, it's going to go into Deadpool 3. I have a feeling because the way Loki was basically, from what many have said,
like a multiverse thing,
was basically the setup for Quantumania. So I would not be surprised if Loki season 2 is the segue into Deadpool 3.
So like he would leave Loki season 2, and where he ends up in Deadpool's world.
Yep.
Which is ostensibly the X-Men, the X-Men Last Class world. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the smart thing would be to bring the first two movies into canon, because they are really well received. And if you can suddenly say, hey, they're part of the MCU, it adds to your positive resume.
Whether this is true or not, the one reason I brought this all up in the first place is because the Matthew McFadden casting news adds a little bit more, because I've had a lot of people reach out to me personally and ask me about Deadpool 3. They're worried about it now that Iger's back and all that business. And I said I wouldn't worry too much. It's got a lot of protection around it. It's got Ryan Reynolds. It's got Hugh Jackman. I don't think I'd worry too darn much. And it's got, what is it, Sean Levy or whatever, who's directing it, or Levi, however you say his name. So I think it's all right. But the reason I brought all this stuff up is just to let people know that yes, it's still moving forward. If they're announcing casting and stuff, then that means they're definitely getting closer to shooting. So that's always a good sign. But so let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. We got Disney Sheepherder, who became a new Congo member.
Congo.
Well, we got a video for that now.
Amy wants green drop drink.
No.
Amy wants green drop drink.
All right. She's allowed one. It'll calm her down.
Congo.
I'm going
Tom's
to do
favorite
another
movie.
one too. Yeah,
I'm going to do it in Spanish. Congo.
Is that your favorite movie of all time? Tom? No, sorry.
No, but not really. But for fun, yeah. No, I'm gonna get another video too, the sesame cake video, because everybody likes that one. Stop eating my sesame cake. So I got
Correct the mundo.
And then let's see what else we got here. We got Yellow Flash, who says for $20. Thank you so much. John Favreau is a pile of trash. And what he's referring to here is basically Filoni threw Favreau under the bus over Gina Carano. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
No, what happened?
He said it came the choice because Filoni was asked about it on, I can't remember, some red carpet or some deal, and he said, "Oh, that came down to Favreau. That was his choice." So Filoni basically threw him under the bus on that one. Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, and honestly, I don't care if it is true because it's like no one did anything. So I just see, honestly, I just see him as both complicit. It's just, to me, it's just modern day blame game. I just gotta shit out to your person, so I don't have to be the one that deals with this. That's all I see.
I think he was a major vote in it. At least I will say that, and I will say this. I lost a little respect for him because he's the only one who could have stopped it, and he didn't. So. That's the best I will say to that. Tiger Valley says, not a Trekkie, but fans have my condolences. Well, hopefully,
thank you.
This isn't as bad as things look. We'll see. Conan the Barbarian's here. Well, welcome, Conan. Sends in $10. Says, there's no one left in the industry to write anything. If they fire the woke, they won't have anything else left to write. Crom knows who's good and got woke or pushed out and don't want to come back. Yes.
Oh, that was perfect. Well
See
done.
the hell with you and your woke bullshit.
Crom.
I would chop your head off.
Nice. I want to watch Conan now.
Crom says, fuck you too.
That was good. I like that.
I've got a little donkey and a little horse. Have you seen him? Have you seen his YouTube videos and shit where he's doing that? He's got like a little donkey and a little horse that live in his house now.
No.
He's gone completely nuts. Goddess of Whim sends in $5. Thank you so much. Says, my childhood hero was the Yellow Power Ranger, an Asian woman. So does that mean she can't be my hero? Exactly,
Yes.
Goddess of Whim. This is
That's what it means.
nonsensical bullshit.
That's
This
exactly
whole
what it
idea
means.
that people cannot relate to somebody unless they look like them is the biggest
Yeah,
bunch
that's-
of horse shit ever.
Right, that's not racism at all.
That is, well, I know you're being sarcastic, but that's exactly
Right.
like what it is, right? Like, because how many of us kids grew up with Ninja Turtles and everything else? Is like, so you're trying to tell me that Ninja Turtles are a specific race?
Yes.
They're turtles. Guess what? Shredder was voiced by a black guy on the original show.
Yeah, when you're a kid and you bought all those Turtles toys, you bought them because they looked like you, Tom.
Yeah,
I used to run around the house as a little kid thinking that because I had this little plastic ring that I was Green Lantern. I used to think I was green.
You were green.
Yeah.
Within me.
No more you don't.
Oh,
my. Good.
Oh.
Brian Nielsen is here. Thank you, Brian Nielsen, for the $5. Says the Alonzo debacle. Sorry, Jesus. Reminds me of Denise Crosby's storyline from NYPD Blue.
Jesus.
I hope that's not too deep of a cut. I didn't know she was on NYPD Blue.
Storyline from him. I
Or unless
didn't know
you're-
she was either.
Unless you're mixing up Ryan Caruso and Denise Crosby
David
from
Cruz?
TNG.
Yeah, like David Caruso, who
David
left.
Caruso was on there, yeah.
I don't know. And Crosby was on TNG, yeah, and
Unless he's trying to be facetiously funny here.
could be.
That could be. I don't want to like overstep the joke either.
You never know.
Because yes, both of those two actually did the same damn thing. Like they're basically the male-female version of each other. Denise Crosby left TNG for a movie career that didn't go nowhere. And did I say David Crosby before? I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me.
I think you said Ryan or something. Yeah, either way.
What did I say? You know
Ryan
what
or
I'm talking
something,
about.
Crosby? Yeah. David
No.
Crosby. I don't-
Caruso. David
Denise.
Caruso.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Did I say David Crosby is what I said? That's
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not rewinding. I don't give a shit. I'm not high enough for that right now. Yes, David Caruso and Denise Crosby both fucked their careers.
Yep.
Until at least David Caruso got back with "Hey yeah" on the
when he got to
NYPD
take off his
and the
glasses.
CIS shit. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's maybe something, and he take those glasses off. Wow.
Always some little.
You saw that video where someone cut that where they a bunch of scenes together where he would at the beginning of that stupid show and he'd take his glasses off.
It's every show.
It's every show. It's like a.
It's every show.
So bad. It's hilarious.
It's like this is a murder case. Hey yeah.
And then he makes like a, yeah, he makes a corny joke and then. Wow.
Yeah.
Love it.
Like it's a body's burned. Like, I'd call it first degree murder. Are you kidding? This is murder in the 490th degree. Yeah.
Everyone's ever seen those videos? Sure, you got to check that out. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I love
Forgot
those.
I don't know how you can find it now, but yeah, it's funny.
I'm sure they're on YouTube. Slade Wilson is here. You're gonna have to help me with this one, Mikey.
That's a Deathstroke.
El Chicano de Hierro. Did I say that right?
El Chicano de Hierro. Let us embrace.
De Hierro.
Yeah, so that's iron. Well, Chicano is like Chicano is actually what I really am. I'm more than a Mexican.
Right.
Let us embrace the hate for Latinx. Boricua approved. Yes, Slade Wilson. Boricua means Puerto Rican. And for anyone who's ever heard me speak Spanish, unfortunately, I didn't grow up speaking Spanish like a Mexican. I ended up learning it from Cubans and Puerto Ricans.
So El Chicano de Hierro.
Coño carajo.
And Slade Wilson is the name of Deathstroke. He's obviously a fan of Deathstroke the Terminator.
Yep.
Cool.
So, hey, Deathstroke, that's, good to know that you know what's up.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Walt Man 4 here who says they got that Ant-Man 3 post-credit scene showing multiple versions of him in every variant. Yes.
Right.
And that's where I said it'd probably be just easier for them to quietly recast him, if that's the case. And then on the Jon Favreau thing, I saw that just so it's relevant, Stephanie said, hey, guys, it's not true.
Not true.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I don't think that Favreau would do that, but...
I mean, that's a lot of work for him to go out of his way to rewrite everything that he had.
Well, I take Dave Filoni at his word.
Dave Filoni, I don't trust as far as you can throw him.
I don't know. To me, no one's gonna ever admit the truth, so it's just like I wouldn't put past if even both of them might have a degree of faultness of it. Once again, I don't want to deal with this question, so why not just play the blame game? That way, we move on to the next statement.
Yeah, G-Dog asks, what's worse, cult leader or women beater? Well, if you're Ezra Miller, you're both. I mean, so.
Yeah.
Wow, nailed it, Tom.
Cult leader, woman beater. It's a song.
You goddamn lucky I even feed her.
I mean, that was funny.
Yeah. Ezra Miller.
It's
like his own Saturday morning cartoon or some shit. Where's he at now? We don't know. He might wind up in Hawaii or who knows?
Is he in the ER?
Tokyo.
Is he in the ER? Is he at the police department? We don't know. Shoo,
he's a cult leader, girl beater. Oh, sorry. Shit eater. Sorry.
Whoa.
Multiple repeater.
We're working on it.
Offender repeater. Yeah.
In this week's episode, Ezra fights felony charges.
Oh.
Can he plead them down?
He throws them chairs with such grace. Watch out! He almost hit that bitch in the face. Ezra Miller.
Girl choker.
We're getting fucking sued.
God, the stuff we do on this show.
Girl choker, bear poker.
Jerk stroker. Girl choker. Oh,
wow.
We should repeat this on the morning show.
Jesus.
No one looks better in a dress or causing a woman such distress.
Yes. Oh.
It's Ezra Miller. He's a killer, allegedly.
Can you guess his gender?
When it goes on a bender.
No one knows exactly what he did, but it doesn't matter because he's gender fluid.
You guys are killing me.
Ezra the kid.
Who knows what he'll do next? Maybe start a fire or destroy a complex. He's Ezra Miller. Troy Pacelli says this conversation perfectly underscores why Amber Heard single-handedly destroyed the whole believe all women narrative. Yes. Well, not by herself, I would say, not single-handedly, but she was like the capper.
By herself. Yeah.
Right, like it was on a center stage in front of the world, right?
Right.
Like,
right.
which is sad because at least Johnny got a little bit of, like most people now know what the fuck happened. I feel bad actually for like Marilyn Manson because, like I said, you don't see no headlines exonerating him.
No.
My biggest personal problem with Amber Heard is from having to have to take Johnny Depp's side on anything. Ugh. I never could stand the guy.
I
Good
like
actor,
Johnny,
but,
but I hate
great
him.
actor, but he was such a doofus as a person.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you know.
Well, it's what I said earlier about Jonathan Major. You don't have to have an investment. I mean, it's about right is right, wrong is wrong.
No, that's right. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not even wild on
Depp-
Marilyn Manson's music. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm like, okay, well, this guy's innocent, and that should be acknowledged.
But Depp ran around for years trashing the country and how crappy it was. Yet he used all that money he made from the country to go somewhere else and stuff. He's just a typical Hollywood jagoff.
He's kind of happy. Yeah. Dash Attack is here. He says it's $20. Thank you so much. Says if what Filoni says is true, it really is telling about Favreau's character. He's the one who brought her on and put her on the spotlight and didn't defend the plan or the story arc being set up. Both of them just toe the line. Here's the thing with that. Yeah, like the other thing I was hearing, and again, this is complete. Take this with a grain of salt because this is complete rumor. Was that the issue he was facing with it was the whole anti-Semitic deal. Like there was something to do with that. But like, yeah, being his background and everything. So like, look, I don't know the true story. I don't think we'll ever know the true story. I don't even think Gina knows the whole story, to be honest with you, because I don't think she was privy to a lot of these discussions, obviously, or what went down. She's never actually been formally fired. It's not like she was technically fired. That's the thing that sucks about it is they just never renewed her contract. But the fact that they haven't recast her yet does say a lot. That's the only thing I can say.
Just when does Dave Filoni have any credibility anyway?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't trust Filoni as far as I can fucking toss him. And then called in the Bottle Bay and sends in another $10. Says support for Picard 3 helped Kurtzman in Secret Hideout. There were good reasons for not going back to the abuse of X, even though Kram said it will be different this time. More abuse incoming by Kram. See, I told you. Kram doesn't care. He will smack a bitch.
Nice
like
job,
a koala
Chris.
in the rain. Kram has zero fucks to give.
Well said, Chris.
And demonetized.
Sean Connery even said it. Why you just gotta smack a bitch?
Oh, shite. Love it.
I'm kidding, of course. We do not condone violence in any shape or form here. No, maybe some metaphorical smacking.
I can't say that that's the cause of it, but I will definitely say I definitely think it helped with potentially keeping. I definitely think it helped.
You mean Gina?
Hmm?
I don't know who he was referring to. Sorry.
I was talking about the last super chat with Star Trek.
Oh, the whole Kurtzman thing. Yeah, that's the double-edged sword with this, I guess, is kind of what we're dealing with there.
The new season is setting up for a whole nother series around the Starship Titan. And if those characters are owned by Kurtzman, then they're in a tough spot because they either do this show that may be a very much a success and ride the wave, or what exactly.
Yeah. Well, they'll do it. Yuck.
Well, I know, Kalabby, people like you, fans of that level, I guess is a way of putting it, are never going to get past any of
No,
this
they're
shit.
not gonna. They're not. You know, I've come to terms with Star Trek being dead. Only have the real Trek to deal with, and that's fine.
Although it sounds like they might be undoing some of the crap Picard did, but I haven't seen any of the shows to
I don't
really
think so.
confirm
Well,
that. But
I'll say that
something to do with his body and everything. Anyway, sorry, you were saying, CC.
I don't know.
No, I was going to say, from watching the show myself, I can at least give them credit. They haven't my dad and I watched it without having seen any of the rest of the stuff in the Kurtzman universe, except I watched 5 episodes of Strange New Worlds, and I hated it. I hated it so much I couldn't keep going on.
Terrible show.
But they haven't made it in such a way that it references those other storylines in such a way that I would be at all confused. If I didn't have preconceptions, I wouldn't know that there were other Kurtzman Trek storylines. Anything about there's like 2 references in the first 5 episodes about Picard being cybernetic, and they are very much about the Borg.
It still
Not
has
about
plenty
him-
more crap going on. It still has Raffi and that garbage. So yeah, but anyway,
So I mean, my concern here is that they're not resetting the timeline at all. It looks like they're just gonna keep going on with the timeline they've already created, rather than starting
Correct.
anew, which would,
So
especially
far.
if you want to get like the fans who buy a lot of merchandise to be more excited, you're gonna have to deal with canon at some point. It just looks like they're trying to ride the wave. They do have, one way or the other, they have goodwill going on with this season. It is more well received.
They
And
seem
that
to have
look-
struck a balance of sorts, I will
Yeah,
say.
and it does
And if
look
they
like
can-
they're.
Oh, go ahead.
No, as I was saying, it looks like they've made a decision to try and ride this wave, that the canon doesn't matter as much as just putting forth more products that people receive well, and hoping that will revive things.
Well,
I
it does seem
can't
like
s-
there has been an effort to kind of re-establish this into some sort of canon, right? I don't know, Cece, you've watched it more than I, so you can.
I have,
But just
like
from
I said,
things that I've heard,
I've seen it all. It's crap.
the best thing I can say in that regard is that they really aren't referencing past storylines in a definitive way. What I ask myself is, if I see a moment in an episode that is referring to a past storyline in the previous 2 seasons or other Kurtzman Trek show, do I see it that way because I'm aware of the storylines, or if I came into it having never watched any other Kurtzman Trek, would I see it differently? And that's why it's like with this season, in the very first episode, they start with Picard and the Borg. And with Captain Shaw, his big deal is that he has a problem with Picard's history as Locutus. So when he is mentioned, when Picard is mentioned to be cybernetic, as a viewer who hasn't seen other Kurtzman shows and storylines, it does reflect on the Borg and not on those storylines.
No, it wasn't with the Borg. What we were talking about was he died at the end of season 1 of P. Hard and
Yeah.
got transferred into a synthetic body.
Which I
So
have a
that
problem
was
with.
not a
I'm
reference
with
to
you.
his Borg stuff. The
It's
Borg
like,
stuff, they did sort of mention Borg stuff later. How Shaw had a problem was at Wolffield 359 in the Borg attack. The same as Cisco was there, but Borg is really not part of this season that much. So when he was put into a synthetic body, that was not really related to the Borg itself. It was that was Professor Sun that did that.
So I would have a big problem with them continuing with that kind of canon. I need that. I mean, it's a thin line to simply ignore the fact. And every time something comes up, I'm like, oh, whether or not I like the show, and I think that's going to be an issue for them. How much it's actually going to be an issue, sometimes it's hard to tell because there's a lot of regular viewers who are not hardcore fans, but at the same time, the hardcore fans are the ones that spend the most money. And it's if they don't resolve the canon and the timeline, it's like with Star Wars. You can ignore it to a certain point, but if you want people to really, you're gonna have to deal with it on some level eventually.
Yep.
all right. Well, let's see what else is going on here. We got Conan the Barbarian again with another $10. Says, I'm done with Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC, everything. I'm going to watch old movies and stick with manga and anime, thank you. And old pulp stories. No Picard 3 for me. Not going back, fuck them.
Well said.
I
Conan.
totally understand, Conan. No,
I'm
that's
I'm
fair.
right there with you.
That's
And
totally
that's
fair.
There's a lot
good.
of great anime, a lot of great things to spend your time on. It's true.
There's a lot of great newer stuff that's coming out. It's just not coming out from what's normally put in front of us. And on top of it, this is the perfect time as ever to look towards what you may have missed in the past from the things that you do like. I bet you, if he said Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, and DC, I bet you there's one show or one movie or one comic that he may have been wanting to get to that he didn't get a chance to because, life happens. This is the time to get going on that.
Yes, sir.
Yippers.
Yipper.
Hey, when Tears of the Kingdom comes out in May, I'm gonna put in 100 hours into that game. and I can do that instead of any number of other things.
True.
Got a lot of choices.
I wish I had time to just play games.
Oh, I usually don't, but I just try and chip away when I can.
You know, Tom, my first sponsored ones were when you were gaming. Remember the ads that I would send you super chats? They were actually when you were playing that video game, the Karate Kid one.
Yeah. There's a second part to that. I haven't started it. I never finished it.
I remember that one week where you were like in that one room and you just couldn't get out. That was so fun to watch every night when you were doing that. You're like, I gotta get out of here.
I hate that. There was something in here about the whole Denise Crosby thing, but now I can't find it.
Oh.
So I don't know if I missed something about that. Repeat it if I did. I'm sorry. I saw it and then it flew by and now I can't find it. But anyway. All right. What else did we have here, kids? I don't know. There's like nothing. It was a pretty slow news day today, outside of the main Marvel stuff and the little Star Trek news we had.
I don't know if there's any other news, but I think it's definitely worth a mention. Just towards acknowledging the good. But that clip I mentioned before we got on about Chris Pratt and how they handled the Mario conversation, because obviously that's been a hot button conversation, and I think that's something that people should see it. And it's nice and it's really reassuring. And the fact that Pratt handles it with such class, I think it's definitely worthy of acknowledgement. Regardless of where you stand.
Fun at this. The voices. When the trailer came out, everyone was like, "Why don't they sound more Italian?" But I think the movie handles it in such a great way. So what do you say to the people who are saying they need to sound more Italian?
I come watch the movie. Go watch the movie, and then we can talk. I really think that like once you see the movie, and you know what, and in all honesty, I think you probably need to watch it twice. I think in all honesty, the answer though is that this is a passionate fan base, and it makes sense. Like I understand, I'm part of it. This is the soundtrack to your youth. Yeah. And you don't want someone to come along and cynically kind of destroy it as a cash grab with the movie. I fully understand that. You do not want that to happen, and there were so many hearts and souls and minds dedicated to making sure that didn't happen. And you saw the movie. It's really honors the video game. It honors the world of Mario, and is very promising as to like what we could expect over the next 10 years, like an entire universe of these types of movies. They're super nostalgic. They're really fun. It's Illumination, so they know what they're doing, and it's great because I mean, especially for me now that I have kids, like I have to see every animated movie whether it's good or not. So I'm really grateful when a great animated movie comes out, and that's what it is. So thankfully, and hopefully there'll be more.
So and he also
make so much money.
I want to get interviewed by that chick.
Me too.
You do for different reasons, Mikey. No, but he also teased a little bit of the Nintendo universe, which is kind of something we've been hearing about.
DC.
Is that and that there is he was talking a little DC and some other things, and I'm sure he's going to be Booster Gold.
I hope so. I would actually really get behind that. I know a lot of people, no one was talking about that part of the franchise, but that would actually get me excited.
We gotta have Ted Cord too, though.
Oh, we do for Blue and Gold.
Gotta have Ted Cord too.
Yes, acknowledge the great Ted Cord and his big business. Come on,
right.
All right. Well, this is something that we talked about before. 420, they're coming back. Now we got a trailer.
Come and get it.
So much new beaters.
Check it out. So when are you going to put those needles in? Ow, my back.
So much new butthead.
Yeah, baby. My soul is like full of rain and stuff. Parenthood is cool.
It's 420.
Everyone hold hands. Hold hands, guys.
All right.
So many Barbies. Oh no. To stay on the couch.
Now let the games begin.
An all-new season of Beavis and Butthead streaming April 20th.
I now pronounce you husband and husband.
This is the happiest day of my life.
Oh shit, they're gonna get married! Oh no!
Oh, there's so much awesome packed into 45 seconds.
It's detrimental to my health. It's so funny. I can't stop laughing sometimes.
If you haven't seen the last season yet, do yourself a favor and check it out. I can't wait
gotta,
for this.
So
we gotta
funny.
review that upcoming season. I'm just saying
Oh,
like
so good.
I even if
first
we
season's
get
good.
us obviously Klobby, Andre, we gotta when that second season comes out, that's good. That's gonna be fun. I think that's gonna be absolute. I think it's gonna be
Funny.
just as good, if not
Yeah,
better than the
probably.
previous season.
The shit they
That
just
was
showed
so
there
damn
was
funny.
pretty fucking funny looking.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was an incredible trailer.
I mean, I think I felt like my life was in danger laughing at one of the particular episodes last year. I'm not kidding, man. I couldn't
Get
stop. I
Klobby
thought I was gonna have a heart
CPR.
attack, man. I'm not. It was one of them. The episode "Virtual Stupidity." Remember that one, Tom? That killed me. It was so
Yes,
funny.
yes, I love that.
Holy
Okay.
mother of God!
So yeah, no, Nick, we should really do something like to go over what the first season was, and then set up for the second season maybe.
Let's do it, man.
The
That'd be a lot of fun.
MSMGNM. This is about the Denise Crosby thing. I guess she was on NYPD Blue, and this is what I was talking about. In an introduction, it went after female detectives' shoes and dress. Gay John, the civilian PA, said she was known as a grape crusher. Outgoing lieutenant blocker transfer. Okay. Yeah, so I guess she was on NYPD Blue, evidently. I don't know. That's what they were talking about in the chat earlier. I did not know she was.
Me either.
I didn't really care for the show all that much. It was not like when it came out, I was kind of young. So,
Same.
Rip Star Trek says, so long as Kurtzman universe exists in canon, I'm not coming back to Trek. Metalis could have been given a new character set 50 years later. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But at least sounds like they're going to give Terry, if this is true, if what we've been hearing is true, is that Terry will be a part of this stuff going forward. So we'll see.
It's not in canon to me. It's not in my canon. It
No,
can
but
go
I hear
screw.
you.
Go screw, and they can
It's a
take
mess
Metalis
still.
with them. You take Metalis and have his little stupid show, and I don't have to watch it.
I love being out here with you, Klobby.
I can't stand that guy. Can suck off. I don't care. Screw him.
It's a tough situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's really all I had, kids. And then we got Kilroy was here who says, I go back through the stream and listen to the Star Trek discussion. And when I came back to current time, I find Beavis and Butthead gay proposal. What the fuck? Oh, no, they got married. No, this new Beavis and Butthead season looks hilarious, my man. Can't wait to see it. Loved the last season. Loved the movie, the second film. So yeah. Gola82 says, I've never trusted Kurtzman and I never will. That's a good outlook to have. I've never been able to forgive him for the death of my Star Trek.
Also,
Yes.
paraphrasing Star Trek 6 there. It's a Trek quote. Good paraphrase.
Oh, yeah,
Very
that's
nice.
right. I've never trusted Kurtzman.
Klingons.
And I never will.
And
I've never been able to forgive him.
Death of my boy. Nice.
They killed my son. You Klingon bastards. You
Klingon
killed my
son.
son.
Klingon sons, you killed my bastard. Oops.
That's true. Thank you guys for making this a wonderful show. Klobby, you got anything coming up?
Yeah, tomorrow night, I guess Loki and I will be on the comic book roundtable tomorrow night at 7 Central. And then I'll have my wild card show, 9 p.m. Central. And then 9 p.m. Central Thursday night, Raquel and Mark will join me for the clubhouse. And, I'll be able to hang it with Nick on the comic shop show Friday night. And then Saturday night, Star Trek, 4 more episodes. Starting Deep Space Nine Season 6. So 4 episodes of that reviewing with my wonderful First Officer Raquel Briggs. And thanks for having me, buddy. I'm honored to be here. And thanks for hanging out. Friends in the chat, friends in the on the panel.
Glad to have you here. And then we've got CC Karaoke in the house. Anything you got coming up?
Friday night karaoke, as always, after the late show with Mexican Iron Man.
Indeedy do. Nick, I know what's coming up with you.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have a face off in a little over an hour, Tom.
You're such a good-looking motherfucker.
So,
You're not
yeah.
so bad looking yourself.
So if you need an intermission along with a pee break, have your dinner, your second dinner. This will do that. And then at 9 p.m. Central, we're going to be talking face off on the 81st episode of Toxic Tuesday. I'm excited about talking this one. Even Handy Randy Mad Mardigan's going to be with us for this one too. So it's going to be a great time. So yeah,
interesting. I
that's
hope
what's
to
coming
stop
up.
in at least. I don't know how long I'll be there, but dear, I love the film, but it's been a while since I've seen it. And it sounds like it's going to be a crowded panel as it is. So we got Dearest who sends in a super sticker. Thank you so much for that. I don't have the thing up to see what it is here. Do you guys know what it is?
Let me look on my
thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Thank you so much. If you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, please do so. Let me check the mod chat to make sure I didn't miss any more mod chats here, and then we'll get us out of here. Mikey, you're the bestest YouTuber ever. What do you got coming up?
No, and I just now noticed after 2 hours you changed my name this whole time.
What? I did not.
Yeah, well, who else did?
I'm
not a YouTuber.
Such thing.
Although I'll be on Doom Cucks tomorrow night, probably ranting about Star Trek. Pretty.
All right, we have Disney Sheepherder who came to who got the Congo level. We did get that one, and Mr. Buttcrack Media gave away 5 Midnight's Edge memberships. Thank you so much, Mr. Buttcrack Media. That reminds me, I got to get on Andre's case. We got to do a member stream. But thank you so very much, everybody, again for being here. We appreciate that. Hit that like button. We appreciate that even more. And I want to thank everybody once again for being on the panel, for being in the crowd listening. If it wasn't for you, we'd be talking to ourselves. So take care of yourselves and each other, and always remember.
I got molested in a little boy's room.